a family and obesity medicine specialist. She has over 15 years of experience in taking care of patients. She likes to treat the patients, not just the diseases. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Jyoti Manekar. Hello, Dr. Jyoti. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thank you, Divya. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So without any delay, should we dive into the session?
Absolutely.
So as we are going to discuss about the weight and wellness, so my first question is, so why should folks be concerned about the weight?
Sure. The weight is one of the very easily obvious parameters that a lot of people look at. So a lot of times we think that when we see somebody overweight or obese, we start assuming that they might have some problems. But not always that is the case. Weight is one of the parameters that tells us that there is a problem. But good news is there are some people that are overweight and they're completely healthy, but they are about 20%. So 80% people who are overweight and obese, they tend to have some kind of medical illness, maybe blood pressure, diabetes, it could be heart disease, and so many other little things. So a lot of times we assume that, okay, somebody's overweight, they have a lot of medical illnesses. So weight is an important factor, but it is not all. And there are a lot of hidden things underneath that.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. You explained the insights and the facts of the weight and the numbers people are getting the diseases. So that's very interesting. So audience, we are live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You can join us from your favorite platform and you can get the information while discussing with our expert, Dr. Jyoti, about the weight and wellness. Why don't some people look big as they weigh, but they don't have the weight as they look big?
So a lot of times weight is such a misconception. When people look, like I said, they make judgments. But a lot of times 80% of people who are overweight and obese tend to have some kind of illness. So it is very important to understand that factor. The weight is one of the parameters, and weight can be a lot of times measured in so many different ways. Like if you have a certain height and a certain weight, we calculate what is called the BMI, the body mass index, which works for good 70-80% of people because it talks about how tall you are and how many pounds you weigh. And the BMI tells us if you are in the normal range or in the high range. For example, a BMI of 18 to 25 is considered normal. For Asians, 18 to 22 to 23 is considered normal. So when we're looking at those numbers, it tells us approximately what could be normal. Once we start going above a BMI of 25 up to 30 is considered overweight. A BMI 30 and above is considered obese. So those are the three categories that we define people into. But of course, there are always some outliers. There are some skinny, thin people that may not be healthy, but they look skinny. And they may not fall into the BMI range, but they may have other metabolic illnesses. So usually I say weight is a parameter, but it's not all. There are some skinny, thin people, and they still have illnesses, sickness, metabolic disorders, inflammation that could contribute to bigger diseases like blood pressure, diabetes, depression, cancer, arthritis, hormonal issues. So those are outliers of that 80%, okay? And then there's other end of the BMI. There's another 20% that lie on either side of the bell-shaped curve, tend to have a higher BMI, but their body mass, even if the body mass index looks like it's high, they may look like they have a BMI of 30. For example, a football player.
Yeah.
They may have a lot of muscle mass. So then that makes them look big, but their fat weight content may be low. A lot of times it's under 10 to 15%. So when that's the case, what happens is these people may not be unhealthy. Let's say somebody who's in a perfect BMI of like 25 or 23, and if they have 40% fat weight, then that's a concern. So that's why I say be weight wise. Just a number may not tell us a whole lot. So if you're looking whether the person has enough fat weight or a lot of muscle weight, that contributes a lot to knowing whether they are going to be sick or whether they are at risk for medical illnesses or metabolic syndrome, or if they're already having something.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. You explained very well and in great depth. So, like you mentioned about the metabolic diseases. So, Dr. Jyoti, what are different metabolic diseases?
Divya, that's a very good question. We're seeing a lot of metabolic illnesses here lately, not just in the US, but across the world. We're seeing blood pressure issues. A lot of people have heard about that. We have diabetes or high sugar issues. And then the third one is high cholesterol. So those are the big three things. The other one is abdominal weight. So if you have weight around your midsection, that also falls as a part of the metabolic syndrome. So definitely, if you have 3 out of the 4 criteria, you've kind of fall into the metabolic syndrome criteria. Other thing is the newer one that is now added on to it is called fatty liver disease. So a lot of people, whenever we think about liver, we think about alcohol. But like alcohol, sugar is playing the same role in a lot of people's bodies. The sugar levels are high, the livers kind of get inflamed, and they display the similar symptoms and changes like somebody who would be alcoholic. So that is also considered part of the metabolic syndrome. So again, to kind of outline it, I know it's a lot of information, but just to kind of briefly reiterate, metabolic syndrome consists of inflammation causing several diseases. One of them is high blood pressure. Second one is high sugar, either they're diabetic or pre-diabetic. Third one is high cholesterol. And fourth one is abdominal weight or abdominal circumference. If it's greater than 35 inches in women or above 40 inches in men, they're considered to be part of metabolic syndrome. And the last one, the fifth one, is the fatty liver disease. So these are the components of metabolic syndrome, and that's the biggest driver right now of inflammation, weight, as well as several diseases that we are seeing.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. You explained very well and in great depth. So, like you mentioned about the metabolic diseases. So, Dr. Jyoti, what are different metabolic diseases?
So your question is a very good question. Like you said, a lot of people are having a lot of diseases nowadays, especially the younger ones. When we talk about our grandparents, we understood that they had 1 or 2 pills to take when they were like in their 80s or 90s. But now we're seeing a lot of younger people, even in their 30s, 40s, are taking tons of medications, a handful of medications every single day. I feel like they're taking more pills than real food. They're taking blood pressure medications, something for diabetes, something for cholesterol, something for arthritis. So their pills are never ending. And our society has come to a conclusion that we definitely will need some kind of medication. Unfortunately, that is not true. So there is a good solution that'll help with a lot of these things. So you're right. Younger kids and younger folks are nowadays getting diseases because of the fuel we are putting in our body. What we put in our body is what we are. So if you put the wrong fuel in your body, obviously your body's not going to function. And it kind of starts fighting it, coping with it. And ultimately one day we find out that we have blood pressure. So blood pressure does not develop overnight. Somebody did not wake up and say, oh, I have blood pressure. Somebody did not say, oh, one day you have diabetes. The processes have been happening underneath for a long time. And then one day it is exposed because either you have symptoms or you went to a doctor, had a checkup, and here we go. Your sugars are high, or your blood pressure is high. Oh, your cholesterol is high. So those are the things that start popping up. And now we're seeing it in younger kids as little as 9, 10 years old. It is pretty sad to see type 2 diabetes in 9 and 10-year-olds. And why is that happening? These are all man-made diseases. Things could happen when you get older, maybe, to some extent. But why would a 9-year-old get type 2 diabetes? So when that question arises, that's what I say. What fuel you put in your body is what matters. What you eat is what you are. And a lot of times the problem is the society is not aware of what we're really eating because there's so much stuff around us that kind of distracts us from real food. There's so many advertisements, so a lot of times you're not eating real food. And that's taking us into the wrong path and our body is able to fight and cope only to some extent. But eventually one day it's going to give out and say, hey, you know what? I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah. So, Dr. Jyoti, like to explain why the younger generation is getting like heart disease, diabetes, and all of the problems. So, we should always stick to our right diet and the fuel we are taking into our body. So, thank you for the insights, Dr. Jyoti. So, like, how do I know if I am healthy or not?
That's a good question, Divya. Imagine if you have some symptoms. Let's say you have a headache, you have a stomach pain, you have, let's say, you have chest pain, back pain. So something is telling you that something's wrong in your system, and everything works right. Our bodies work fine. Some people have sleep issues. Some people are completely worrying all the time. Some people are depressed and crying for no reason. So these are things that are happening to us. So these are signs that our body is telling us that something's wrong. So one is looking at symptoms. Second thing, how we know is by having regular checkups. So when you go to your doctor for annual checkup, they do a certain amount of blood work to check if you're anemic, to check if your liver and kidney functions are good, to check if your sugar is under control, to check if your cholesterol is under control, to check if your hormone levels or thyroid levels are under control, to check your vitamin B12 or D is under control. So those are important things to check. And if we don't check them, we won't know where we're going. It's like blindly driving somewhere, not knowing where we're going. So we need that GPS. We need those signs. We need those periodic milestones or checks to know if we are heading the right direction or not. And if you're not, we can make those changes and alter our path and bring a different result. So if you know you have high cholesterol, then you're going to make changes, right, Divya? If you don't know that you have high cholesterol, you're not going to make the change. So it's very important to check. And that's why these diseases are called silent illnesses, because cholesterol does not tell you about any symptom. High blood pressure may not always tell you about any symptom. And then a lot of people know that they have high blood pressure only after their first heart attack. And that's not right. So this is a preventable thing. We could have taken care of it early on if we knew it. So one is regular checkups are very important. But if you have some small signs or symptoms like headaches, chest pain, back pain, depression issues, cancer issues where you sometimes have knots and cysts, something that we don't take care of on time, and they happen to grow and then spread, and that's too late. So when you see something, definitely make sure that it's attended. And even if you don't see something happen, make sure you get regular checkups. At least the common things can be found out by regular checks.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Jyoti. You provided a lot of information about the topic. I think our audience has got lots of useful information. So before hopping to our next question, viewers, eGlobal Doctors is one complete healthcare platform solutions for all your medical related issues and questions. And मजे की बात ये है that you have these services available to you at your fingertips without breaking your bank balance and without driving all in the comfort of your living room. So, Dr. Jyoti, you explained very well about like how these diseases are getting into the young generation, and like how should a person should know like if they are healthy or not. So, how to fix these diseases and like how to fix these problems?
That's a very good question, Divya. Number one thing I would say, prevent them and can, right? And once you find out you have something, let's take appropriate steps to make sure we take a handle of it and not let them progress. Okay. So how to fix them? A lot of times people think once you have blood pressure, you'll have blood pressure for life. Once you have diabetes, they think that they're stuck with diabetes for life. But good news is that's not true. You can reverse some of these things. So people who already have pre-diabetes, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, these can be reversed, but take control of it right away. And the best part is it's easy to take charge. One is, again, the fuel matters. So what you put in your body. Imagine if you're driving a car and if you put, kerosene or alcohol in it, do you think it's fun? No, it needs proper gasoline or petroleum to run. So same thing, our bodies need proper nutrition. So once you give the right nutrition to your body, it's going to show miracles. It's going to do its job. So fixing with proper nutrition is the key. The medication is not always the answer. Food is a lot of times the answer. And sometimes when the answer is so simple, people believe it. Just go to real food. So what we are eating nowadays is a lot of rich foods, processed foods that are mixed with tons of chemicals that we can't even spell those names. And when that happens, we're putting these chemicals in our body, and these chemicals drive a lot of carcinogens, inflammation, the oxidative stress on our body, which causes a lot of problems when your body's trying to clean out your system. And when that happens, the disease start happening. To reverse it, we want to clean up the environment inside our bodies. When the environment inside our bodies are cleaned up with proper fuel, automatically your blood circulation improves, your energy level goes up, you feel better, your head goes away, you sleep better. So it's very important to put right nutrition in your body. And second thing is physical activity. Nowadays, we sit a lot in front of the screen, or we are watching something while we're eating, we are driving and eating something. So one, we're adding a lot of unnecessary calories, and we're not that physically active. So if you're like somebody who does office job, they're sitting at their desk for 8 hours, and that's not good for your health. So obviously your sugar levels are going to rise. So imagine if you take that walk during lunchtime for 15, 20 minutes even, or you take the stairs instead of the elevators, or you take a brisk walk every evening instead of watching or binge watching your Netflix. So some simple little things that you can do, or you can start making phone calls that you need to do by walking instead of sitting at the desk. So those are little simple things. If you can infuse into your life, it'll kind of change a lot of different things, how your body works, how your systems work, and how your numbers will change on your blood tests, and also how you feel. And the good thing is that comes first. How you feel will change real quickly if you change your nutrition.
Yeah. So, Dr. Jyoti, like you mentioned, we can reverse these diseases. So, how can we reverse these diseases completely?
Very good, Divya. Let's dive into that a little bit more. So if you want to reverse something, let's say take example of metabolic syndrome itself. Let's say somebody has blood pressure or diabetes or cholesterol or liver disease. So we know what the problem is. Now we know what the fix is, but we need to apply it, right? So we have to take those little steps to figure out what we should put in our body and what we should not put in our body. So those are two important things. What is real food and what is not real food? Okay. The simplest way to know is what's God made. That's real food, like fruits and vegetables. Simple. Okay. Whatever is man-made, processing, coming in a package, coming from fast food store. So that's a longer list, of course. So that's not healthy. Does that make it easy? So whatever's God made, that's healthy. And of course, animal products have their own problems because let's say we say macronutrients or your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your good fats are essential for your body. But if you consume your complex carbohydrates, let's say from fruits and vegetables, they give you more energy as well as give you more nutrition. But if you take the same number of calories, let's say from donuts or sandwiches or from, fried chicken, what's happening? You just put garbage in your body. You expect something good? How's that going to happen? It's not. So simply instead of that, if we eat, salads, if we eat fruits, if we eat a lot of colored vegetables, they have a lot of phytonutrients. So that helps healing your body from the inside. So it's not just taking a shower to cleanse your system. If you put the right things in your body knows how to clean itself because it's such a powerful machine. It can do anything. So first thing is give proper nutrition. So the proper nutrition means whole food plant-based diet is very, very essential. You limit your animal products to saturated fat. The moment you start putting plant-based food, you're going to help improve your nutrition, reduce your cholesterol, your blood flows smoothly through your circulation, you feel more energetic. And what does blood do? It carries more oxygen, so you're going to feel energetic. So even if before you start losing weight, you'll see that when you change your diet, within 2 weeks, you'll have such good energy. You feel good. Your mind is clear. You're not like having a foggy brain. So that's how you know that you're heading in the right direction. So good nutrition is whole food plant-based diet, plenty of water, and then avoiding processed foods, avoiding animal protein, and limiting packaged and ultra-processed food as much as possible in your diet. So I think those are the key things. If you can use those and incorporate it, that'll help a ton to reverse a lot of diseases. And like I said, physical activity, keep moving when you can. And then if you can plan some moderately intensive exercise, at least 2 or 3 days a week, that is an additional benefit right there. So good nutrition, exercise, water intake, avoiding the sugary beverages like colas, help. Juice is no good. A lot of people think fruit juice is healthy, but unfortunately it's not. It's a ton of chemicals and a lot of sugar. It's just a flavored water. So please throw that away in the garbage right away if you want to get healthy. And then the simple things are simple. Keep it simple as much as possible. Reverse a lot of things. It's not complex. It is not difficult. It is a lot of times we think that something big, this complex like blood pressure, weight, or diabetes needs something big. It's not true. I've seen people reverse diabetes in 2 to 3 weeks of changing their diet. A lot of people have gone off of insulin just by not eating the garbage. If you eat an apple instead of a pizza, obviously it's going to help. Initially, your taste buds may say that, oh, that doesn't taste good. But remember, with persistence, with trying, it helps to develop that taste. And once you keep the garbage out, your body's not going to crave for that. This craving is one of the things that brings us back to the bad habits. And once you eat the good food and the good food only, you won't even think about soda. You won't even think about juice. You won't even think about a cake because, your fruits and vegetables are providing so much nutrition. You feel good. And there's no addiction or craving anymore for sugar, because sugar is very addictive. And if you stay away from the processed sugar, well, you're not going to think about it. Nobody so far I've seen has gotten addicted to carrots or celery or broccoli. So you can eat as much as possible on your colors. So lots of broccoli, cauliflower. You can say all the colored vegetables like your greens, your, eggplants. Pick all the colors. The colors are good because they have a lot of nutrition. So that's the way to go. To simplify, whole food plant-based diet is the way to go, guys.
So thank you, Dr. Jyoti. You provided a lot of information and a good insights what we can eat and what should we not. So viewers, eGlobal Doctors is providing diet consultation. As the doctor mentioned, we are here to reverse the diseases like diabetes, child nutrition, and we have featured categories like gut health, menopause, nutrition support, and reversal of PCOS and hypothyroidism. So you can visit our website eglobaldoctors.com for more details, and you can download our application now. So Dr. Jyoti, like you explained everything, like how to fix the problems we are facing in young generation, what fuel we should take into our body, and how we can reverse the diseases completely. So my last question is like, can you give it some advice to manage weight?
Sure, Divya. I mean, a lot of times, again, we focus a lot on weight. We need to understand, are we healthy or not first? Okay. If you have any symptoms like headaches, insomnia, or sleep issues, or aches and pains, don't ignore them. Get notice of them. If you notice them, you know something's wrong. And try to fix things around it to see if your sleep schedule is good. Are you sleeping on time, waking up on time? Are you hydrated enough? Are you giving your body enough nutrition? So always check on things that you can modify yourself. And have annual checkups so that we know if we have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high sugars, and things like that. That way we can take charge of them right away before they go out of hand. So that's always step number 1 is know your symptoms and have checkups. Step number 2 is nutrition, physical activity, and having a good calm mind. So nutrition to your body, physical activity for your body, and then some, mental health, emotional health, which includes things like, participating in some spirituality kind of helps. So I always say, think about your physical health, give it good nutrition. So food is primary. Second is physical activity. Keep moving. It's very important for your body. And last thing is, some yoga, spiritualism. It helps calm your mind down. So it helps a lot with a lot of times when you get hit with a lot of problems. It helps to calm your mind down and get through things a little bit more easier. So that's the second part. And then the third part, I would say, is again, get that support system. When you are in trouble, always remember you need support. So it's very important to get professional help when you need it. and being in denial just kind of adds to the problem more. And getting support system, either it could be from family members, it could be from your healthcare professionals, or informative videos and doctors who are available to get you some help is very important as well. So pay attention to your symptoms, get checkups regularly, pay attention to what you put in your body, because that's your fuel ultimately, and keep moving. And lastly, have good support system. So use your system, because as human beings, we are very dependent, interdependent. And when you're in trouble, get help, because there's always help and there's always ways to reverse things. So don't think if you have diabetes or blood pressure, that's the end of it. There's always hope and there is ways to reverse it.
Yeah, correct. So thank you, Dr. Manekar, for providing lots of information about the topic. I think our audience has got a lot of useful information about the weight and wellness. So can you provide a summary for the topic to those audience who just have joined us?
Sure. Today we talked a lot about weight. A lot of times weight sounds like a problem, but it could be a typical problem. Weight by itself may not always be the problem. A lot of times there's underlying diseases that are a bigger issue. So for example, we talked about blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, PCOS, and then a lot of cancers nowadays. We're seeing a lot of younger people getting heart disease, cancer, strokes. The reason being the fuel in our body. If you give proper fuel to our body, then obviously it's going to function well. And the trick is, first disease is to put the right fuel in your body. So if you give whole food, plant-based nutrition and physical activity, that'll help a ton with how you manage your systems, and that ultimately prevents diseases. So prevention is always better, but if you hit with something, don't think that's the end of it. You don't have to swallow a bunch of pills, but you can take control of your disease by changing your nutrition, and gradually your doctor will back off or back down on your medications as you start feeling better. So yeah, focus on nutrition, and that's going to be the primary thing. And let weight loss be the side effect of healthy nutrition.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Audience, although you might have these metabolic diseases or have its signs and symptoms, no need to worry, as the expert at eGlobal Doctors are here to help you. You can visit our website eGlobalDoctors.com or download our application now. So thank you, Dr. Jyoti ma'am. It's always a pleasure to have you in our live sessions. You always bring so much of information. So before wrapping up the session, viewers, are you looking for an expert second medical opinion for cancer treatment? Well, look no further, because eGlobal Doctors is providing access to top oncologists from across the world. So Dr. Jyoti, any words for our audience?
Thank you for having me, Divya. I think it was a pleasure talking to you guys, and you had great questions today. I hope they'll help our audience. And if you have any questions, feel free to send us any of your questions. And hopefully in your future episodes, we'll try to answer some of those questions. So that'll be beneficial for everyone. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you, doctor.